There is a chickadee in your yard right now, and it has a word for danger that's far more exact than you'd ever guess. For a long time, we assumed a bird's alarm call was just noise, a panic sound, the same whether the threat was a cat, a hawk, or a branch falling. It turns out that's wrong. In a study published in the journal Science, researchers showed that the black-capped chickadee's familiar chickadee call carries a code. The bird adds more D notes for the predators that are genuinely the most dangerous to it, the small, fast, agile hawks and owls it can't easily outfly, and fewer notes for the big, slow ones. And when other birds hear that call played back, they react to exactly the level of threat it describes, mobbing harder and longer for the dangerous predators than the harmless ones. It isn't panic, it's a language, and the rest of the yard is listening. Here's the part that should sit with you. You're inside that system. To the birds in your yard, you are a large animal moving through their world, and a surprising amount of what you do every day reads to them as a threat, without you ever meaning it to. They signal it constantly, in their calls, their posture, the distance they keep. Most people never learn to hear it. So today we're going to translate it. There are 7 things you're very likely doing in your own yard right now that the birds you love are quietly begging you to stop. If you own a feeder, a window, a cat, or a bright jacket, at least 3 of these already apply to you. None of them are hard to fix. And stay to the end, because the last one is the thing almost nobody ever thinks about, and it might be the easiest fix of all. Welcome back to Backyard Bird Feeder. If this is the kind of thing you want to understand, subscribe before you go. What you learn in the next few minutes will change what you do the next time you step outside. 1. The color you wear changes how close they'll let you get. Start with something you'd never suspect: your clothes. When researchers compared how birds reacted to people in different colored clothing, they found something consistent in the birds that still have their wariness. Cautious, rural birds took off at a noticeably greater distance from a person wearing red than from someone in black, white, or dark green. In another field experiment, dull, concealing colors let an observer walk much closer, while bright colors like orange sent the birds off sooner. Part of the reason is that birds simply see more than you do. Most have 4 kinds of color receptor in their eyes, where you have 3, including 1 tuned to ultraviolet light. They see a whole extra dimension of color, and the world looks more vivid to them than it ever does to you. Researchers think a dull, background-matching outfit makes you harder to pick out, while a bright one turns you into something worth watching. There's a quiet twist, though. That effect mostly showed up in country birds. City birds, already used to streams of people, barely reacted to clothing color at all. So the wilder and warier the birds in your yard, the more your red jacket is costing you. The fix is free. Wear soft greens, browns, and muted blues out to the feeder, and save the bright colors for somewhere the birds aren't. 2. If your cat goes outside, this is the hardest truth on the list. There's no gentle way to say this one, so I'll just say it. If you have a cat that goes outdoors, your cat is killing birds. In a study published in Nature Communications, scientists estimated that free-ranging domestic cats kill somewhere between 1.3 and 4 billion birds every year in the lower 48 states, with a best middle estimate of around 2.4 billion. That makes outdoor cats likely the single largest direct, human-caused source of bird deaths in the country. And it isn't mostly invasive species. The majority of the birds cats catch are native. Now, most of that toll comes from unowned feral cats, roughly 2/3 of it. But that still leaves hundreds of millions of birds a year killed by pets. And here's what owners find hardest to accept: a well-fed cat still hunts. Hunting isn't driven by hunger. It's instinct. And a full bowl at home doesn't switch it off. The fix is the one nobody wants to hear, and the only one that fully works. Keep the cat indoors. Cornell and the American Bird Conservancy land in the same place. Indoor cats, a screened catio or leash walks protect the birds and the cat both, since cats that stay in live far longer too. And the half measures really are only half measures. A bell, or even a bright collar cover, can cut the kills, the coloured covers, by something like 40 to 80% in trials, but none of them stop a determined cat completely. Only inside is truly safe. 3. 2 windows in your house are almost certainly killing birds. This is the one people refuse to believe until they hear the number. Glass. A second study from the same team estimated that collisions with buildings kill somewhere between 365 million and nearly 1 billion birds a year in the United States. And it isn't skyscrapers doing most of it. Towers over 12 stories account for less than 1%. The overwhelming majority happens at low buildings and ordinary homes. Houses 1 to 3 stories tall, houses like yours, account for around 44% of it. Per home, that sounds like nothing. Roughly 2 birds a year. Multiply it across every house in the country, and it's a couple 100 million birds. The reason is simple and sad. A bird doesn't see glass. It sees the sky and the trees reflected in it, and it flies toward what looks like open, safe space. Many die on impact. Others fly off stunned and die later, out of sight, which is exactly why you so rarely find them. Here's the fix, and the one detail that makes or breaks it. Markers on the outside of the glasswork. Stickers on the inside mostly don't, because the reflection that fools the bird sits on the outer surface. So that lone hawk sticker on the inside of your window is doing almost nothing. What works is a pattern on the outside, dots or lines no more than about 2 inches apart, so there's no gap a bird will try to slip through. Done right, on the outside, the American Bird Conservancy says it prevents most strikes, and some tested products cut them by up to 90%. 4. The spring cleanup you're proud of is destroying nests. This one runs on good intentions. You wait for a nice spring weekend, get out the trimmers, and tidy up the hedges and trees. And right in the middle of nesting season, that's one of the most damaging things you can do. Most birds in North America raise their young from roughly March through August, and a hedge you're about to cut is very likely holding an active nest you can't see. Trimming then can expose those nests to weather and predators, or destroy them outright. There's even a law behind it. The Migratory Bird Treaty Act, on the books since 1918, makes it illegal to destroy the active nest, eggs, or young of native birds. The fix is just timing. Do your real cutting and pruning in late fall and winter, outside the nesting season. If you absolutely must trim in spring, part the branches and look first. Wait until the season is over, and you protect the very birds you were trying to make a nicer yard for. 5. You're feeding them with love, and some of it is making them sick. People put food out with the kindest of intentions, and then, without realizing, hand birds things that quietly hurt them. Start with what to leave out. Bread is empty calories. It fills a bird up without nourishing it, and it's no substitute for real food. Salted or seasoned nuts are genuinely dangerous because small birds can't process salt. Avocado is toxic to birds, and so are chocolate, caffeine, onion, and garlic. Those cheap value seed mixes are mostly filler too. Milo and red millet that most songbirds, especially in the East, just kick to the ground to reach the few good seeds underneath. What they actually want is simple. Black oil sunflower for the widest crowd, Niger for finches, sweet for woodpeckers, mealworms for bluebirds. And if you feed hummingbirds, it's 1 part plain white sugar to 4 parts water. No honey, which grows dangerous mold, and no red dye, which they don't need, and which may be harmful. But the food is only half of it. A feeder is a place where a whole neighborhood of birds touches the same surface, and that makes it a place where disease spreads. In the winter of 2020 and 2021, a salmonella outbreak moved through feeders across the western states as pine siskins erupted south. It killed huge numbers of birds and even sickened people, with more than a dozen hospitalized across 3 states, most of them traced back to bird feeders. House finch eye disease spreads the same way, surface to surface. So the fix is a small, regular chore. Clean your feeder about every 2 weeks with a solution of 1 part bleach to 9 parts water. Scrub it, soak it around 10 minutes, rinse it, and let it dry fully before refilling. And the most important rule of all, the moment you see a sick bird at your feeder, take it down, clean it, and leave it down for a couple of weeks, so the gathering place doesn't become the thing that spreads the illness. 6. The noise of your yard work is louder to them than it is to you. Birds live in a world built on sound. Every call, every warning, every conversation between them rides on it. And we flood that world with engine noise. The findings here are striking. In one experiment, researchers played nothing but the recorded sound of traffic across an open area, a phantom road with no actual cars, and bird numbers dropped by more than a quarter, with about 1/3 of the community leaving the place entirely. The noise alone was enough. Chronic noise also reshapes who can live somewhere. The birds with lower-pitched songs, the ones most easily drowned out, simply disappear from noisy areas. And a study of more than 58,000 nests across the continent found that for forest birds, noise meant smaller clutches, more eggs that failed to hatch, and fewer young that made it out of the nest. It doesn't just annoy them. It quietly lowers how many of them survive. You're not going to give up your lawnmower, and you don't have to. The fix is restraint. Keep the loud tools, the mower, the blower, the power washer, to short stretches, and run them in the middle of the day rather than at dawn or dusk, when the birds are at their most active and most vocal. 7. The way you walk toward them tells them you're hunting. The last of the 7 is the most personal, because it's about your own body. Birds read intent in how an animal moves, and a few of your habits read, to them, exactly like a predator. A direct, straight-line approach unsettles a bird far more than an angled one, and a direct stare is worse. In a study with starlings, simply having a person face the birds made them hang back about a minute longer before they'd come to food, and eat noticeably less. When the person's gaze was aimed right at the food, the effect was stronger still. The reason is built deep into them. A large animal walking straight at you, eyes locked on, is what a hawk or a fox does in the seconds before it strikes. So the fix is to move like something that isn't hunting. Come at the feeder from an angle instead of head-on. Go slow and steady rather than stop and start. Let your eyes drift past the bird instead of staring straight at it. It takes a little practice, and it works. Move like you mean them no harm, and over a few weeks they'll let you remarkably close. And the one almost nobody thinks about, your lights. Here's the bonus, the one that almost never makes these lists. It happens after dark, while you're asleep, which is exactly why you've never connected it to your birds. Most songbirds migrate at night, navigating by the sky, and artificial light pulls them off course. When New York City lit its 2 great memorial beams into the sky, researchers watching on radar saw migrating birds gather in the light at up to 20 times their normal density, circling and calling, disoriented as high as 4 kilometers up. And this is the most hopeful fact on the whole list, because of what happened next. The moment the lights were switched off, the birds broke free and flew on. The harm simply stopped. That's the entire fix. During the spring and fall migrations, turn off the outdoor lights you don't need overnight, draw the curtains, and let the dark sky do what it's done for 100 million years. It costs you nothing, and it saves lives you'll never even see passing over your roof. What they've been trying to tell you. So that's the list. The clothes, the cat, the windows, the spring trimming, the feeder, the noise, the way you walk, and the lights. Here's what I'd take from it. The birds in your yard can't speak to you, but they signal constantly, every single day, in calls and posture, and the distance they keep. And those signals are things scientists have measured and published and confirmed. They're asking you, in the only language they have, for small things. Bring the cat in, mark the windows, wait until fall to trim, keep the feeder clean, slow down when you come close, turn off the light. Almost nobody listens. Most people who watch this won't change a single thing, but the few who do will notice it within a few weeks. The birds coming closer, staying longer, singing more openly, trusting more. That's the quiet part of all this. You were never only feeding them, you were being read the whole time. And the moment you start answering, a different kind of relationship opens up. One you have to earn, and that hardly anyone ever does. So tell me in the comments, which of these were you doing without realizing it was a problem, and which one are you going to fix this week? I read every single one. I'll see you in the next one.